Ray Craig was a teenager, kid coming up in our church. He's in college. A bunch of our college kids became counselors. We went down the Star of Hope, and we got some kids who were there in the shelter, underprivileged, brought up in the roughest part of our city. And so we had a camp, and they took these kids camping, and they were boisterous. They'd never been anywhere before. But one little kid there that Ray really liked, his name was Desmond. And Desmond wasn't as boisterous as the rest, because when they tell Bible stories, he just listened and listened. And the first night there, he went up to his counselor, Ray. He said, Ray, I live in a tough part of town. People are shot at night, and a lot of people are seriously hurt at night. He said, I'm afraid of the dark. When the lights go out, would you come and stand by my bed until I go to sleep? And Ray said, that little kid, sure, Desmond, I'll do that. And so every night, the lights would go out, Ray'd stand by Desmond's bed, wait for him to go to sleep. That happened night after night after night. Finally, the last night, they gave an opportunity for the kids to come to know Christ. And then they asked them, those who want to receive Christ, lift their hand. Little Desmond lifted his hand. And Ray took him outside and talked with him, spent time with him, loved him. And he prayed the prayer in a childlike, beautiful faith to let Jesus Christ come into his life and run his life. When they went back in, all the lights were out. Desmond went on and turned on the lights. He said, I want to tell you what's happened to me. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? And then finally, they cut the lights back out, and Desmond got back in his bed, and Ray went over there at his post to stand by his bed. And little Desmond looked up and whispered, Ray, you don't have to stand there anymore. Jesus is watching over me. Isn't that it? That's the great work. That's a greater work than Jesus. Do you realize even after the resurrection, when Peter stood up and proclaimed the truth of Christ, that 3,000 people came to faith? Do you realize the first week of the church, over 10,000 people had come to faith in Jesus Christ? Do you realize that in the first 300 years of Christianity, whereas the Roman world was filled with pagan places of worship and altars and demonic activity all across the Roman world, 300 years as the message of Christ went through the Roman world, almost all those heathen temples were shut down and not functioning because millions had come to faith in Jesus Christ. Greater works than Jesus experienced anywhere in his life because he had gone to the Father. Are you doing greater works than Jesus? If not, why not?